My name is Mark Miner. I am an investigative writer and author. In my travels, I've investigated many people and places. Watch as I seek out stories that are typically outside of the box of normal. I am the Seeker.
Hi guys, so welcome back to another episode. We are at Camp Adair, which is about a few miles outside of Corvallis, which is next to Adair Village in Oregon. And so last season, I did come here and do kind of like a little walk around to show you guys around, but I got some information for you today, and you know what? I put it on notes and I left it at the house. Okay, so that's okay. I'll try to do it from memory. So we're gonna kind of walk a little bit and show you around the streets of this used to be a big town. So let's do a little bit of history and I'll tell you about it as we're walking. So we're gonna walk this way. The birds are quite noisy today, as you can hear. So those are crows. They sound like monkeys, but those are crows. Okay, so Camp Adair was sited, which means the government came and found this land, which used to be Wells, Oregon. So it was like a little town of Wells called Wells, Oregon. And the government found it in 1941. So this was during World War II. So right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the government needed to find a base on the West Coast, or create a base on the West Coast that trained soldiers. And for war in Germany and Italy and Japan and the such. Now, there's a lot of critters out here. So if I interrupt you guys because I hear something in the woods, that's what it's because of. So anyways, so they came here and they found this place, Wells, Oregon. W-E-L-L-S. And they thought, what a perfect landscape and perfect location, because it looked like the hills of Germany. So at the end of this video, as I'm leaving this site, I will stop and show you the topography of the land, and you'll see what I'm talking about. For those of you who have been to Germany, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So what they did was the government came in and basically told all the farmers and everybody who lived on in Wells that they had to go. So they bought all their land, all their houses, and these people moved. Not only did the government do that, but they relocated a graveyard that had graves that were all the way back to the 1850s. And where they put that, I don't know. But, okay, we're going to go on a smaller path here. So all the people moved out, and the government came in and started, like, leveling the land a little bit. That I heard somebody yelling. And just started building a base. And they decided to call it Camp Adair. So the reason why they called it Camp Adair was because of a gentleman with the last name of Adair. You can look that up. I'm not going to go into that. But anyways, we got a butterfly. So anyways, they started building the base in 1942, and it was rather large. I think it was like 5,700 acres or something like that. Anyways, when the base was completely built in 1942, at the end of 1942, beginning of 1943, they had already moved 30,000 civilians and soldiers onto the base. Now, back in 1942-43, any town near this, the most populated town was about 14,000. So that made Camp Adair the second largest city in the whole state of Oregon, Portland being number one. So anyway, so they had 30,000 people living here. And then in 1943, that increased to a little over 50,000. And the base was designed to train soldiers on, you know, to go to war. To basically get ready to go over to Germany. Now there's a path there, but I'm gonna go this one. So yeah, okay. And so this was a perfect location. One, because it did look like the landscape of Germany, and two, because it was a pretty rugged area and it was spacious. So I'm going to include an aerial view of the base back in 1943. So, and then throughout this video, I'm going to show you pictures of the history and the past of soldiers and the base and such things like that. So, once the soldiers started training, they nicknamed the place Camp Adair because there's a lot of swamps around here. So, yeah, we're getting some high grass here. I do not know where this leads. So we're just gonna kind of wander. And what's weird, guys, is see all this grass? This is cement under there. This is dirt that just got onto cement and grass grew. So these were all streets and barracks, and I mean, they had like a store and a theater and a restaurant and eating hall and dance hall. This Camp Adair was huge, okay. And civilians did work on the base, but they had to have clearance to get on the base. Not anybody could just walk onto the base. I almost tripped. So, anyways, ooh, looks like we're getting deeper. See how it's kind of swampy? Yeah, it does get rather wet out here, but this is June, one of the dry seasons. So yeah, oh, I don't know where this is taking me. Oh, it's taking me to a street. So anyway, so the reason why the men called it Camp Adair because it was really wet. And here's a photo of men doing their training in the mud. So you can see why they called it Camp Adair. Plus there's a lot of mosquitoes out here due to the water and stuff like that. So, okay, so we're on one of the main roads. This was a road that went down, so there would have been buildings on this side and buildings on this side. And there's another little trail. So the base pretty much went from 1942 in its conception all the way to 1944. Then in 1944, the military said, everybody out. We're decommissioning the base and we're sending all the soldiers out. So no more Camp Adair. Which is really odd because the military put a lot of money into Camp Adair. In fact, so much money that they had it built within 6 months. So, I mean, when you see the aerial photo, or when you saw the aerial photo, you'll understand what I'm talking about. This was a very large city. So, they decommissioned the base in 1944. Everybody moves out. But the military then thought, well, let's use this space to imprison prisoners of war, POWs. So what they did is they brought in a bunch of Italian people and a bunch of German people. And this was a prisoner of war camp. So where these prisoners of war came from, I'm not quite certain. I don't know if they're like came here from America, or came to America and they were living in America, or if they actually brought them from overseas. I'm not quite sure. And there's no real number of how many there were prisoners of war on this base. So from 1944 to 1946, this base, or this city of Camp Adair, was a prisoner of war camp. Here's the funny thing though. Nobody in the nearby towns knew that they were holding prisoners of war here. They all thought the base had just closed down. Although there was still some military presence, they didn't find that odd. You know, because you got to remember, back then, back in the 1940s, people were way more patriotic than they are now. So when the military or the government tells you something back then, most people believed it. So they just kind of took it for what it was. So the prisoners of war from 1944 to 1946, and then the military said, okay, get rid of the prisoners of war. Where? I don't know. I'm sure they didn't execute them. I'm not quite certain though. I'm not going to say. But I'm sure they just sent them back to where they found them. And so 1946, the military comes in and says, we're going to take care of the base. So they come out, they save the hospital. There used to be a big hospital here. They turn the hospital over to the U.S. Navy, and then the U.S. Navy uses that hospital to treat wounded soldiers from overseas. Let's just say that. Kind of do like a general broad spectrum here. And so outside of the hospital, some of the buildings were lifted and moved to other parts of the state, to different cities. I don't know why specifically they chose certain buildings, but anyways, whatever buildings were left, they demolished it by using dynamite and explosives. So we got another road here, or path. Ooh, that goes deep in the woods. We'll go straight though. Oh wait, I think this dead ends up here, so we might have to take that path. So they demolished all the buildings, and the area, the land, just laid destroyed. And eventually, civilians started moving back into the area. Never fully on the base, although there are a few houses here now. But in 1957, the military had a different idea. Let's see if we can get this straight, because remember, I didn't bring my notes. So they decided to start the Bomarc, B-O-M-A-R-C Yeah, it's a dead end here. I think it's because, yeah, see, it's a river. We can cross that, but I got shorts on today. And as you can see, there are blackberry bushes, and I don't want to get torn up. So let's go back to that one path. Anyways, so they brought in the Bomarc program. So what is the Bomarc program? The Bomarc program was a program to create, how do I say it in a general way? To create missile sites. So in order to protect the West Coast, they wanted some launching sites for missiles in case we ever have to go there or protect the West Coast. And so they came out and they started building these Bomarc sites, launching sites, pads and stuff. So I'm going to tell you, I have known about Camp Adair for many years. This is the first time I've heard of the Bomarc. Let's go back down to this other one. This Bomarc program. And I also found out with doing some research that some of the buildings they built to start this Bomarc program are still standing. The reason why I say that is because a couple of years later, after 1957, the funding for the Bomarc program was cut. So what the military did was they went out and built all these installations, these launch pads, these buildings, and then the program got cut, and so these buildings were no longer used. Our tax dollars at work. Yeah. So these buildings just lay abandoned. So I'm gonna go and find these buildings in another episode. Today we're just gonna focus on Camp Adair, okay? Although these launch sites and buildings are on Camp Adair, it's a little bit further from here. So we'll go there another day. That's another episode, because I'm really curious about that. So in 1959, no more Bomarc program. So in 2006, or excuse me, from 2001 to 2006, they were leasing part of this land to E.E. Wilson Wildlife Refuge. And so on here now, on this land, people can hike. Let's go this way. People can hunt. People can fish. There's archery. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do on this land. And that's because E.E. Wilson now leases part of that land. And the reason why I emphasize leases is because Camp Adair is still considered government property. It's still considered a base. It's just a decommissioned base. So as we're walking right now, we're walking on a military and government property. But we're allowed to. There's no trespassing here. I don't do that. So anyways, 2001, 2006. Let's see if I get this right. The military munitions, let me think. Military munitions restoration program, that's what it is, came in to see if there were any unleft ammunition, any unexploded dynamite or bombs. They did that. Then they went around and tested the dirt and the water and the trees and everything to see if there's any health concerns due to when they blew up Camp Adair, all the buildings. And some of the areas, which I've seen, have signs. So you can see this. There's the E.E. Wilson Wildlife Area. Some of the areas on this base do have signs that say contaminated water or contaminated area. And I think it's because they found high levels of radiation or just like chemical in the dirt and the water. And so it's still safe to hike, I assume. I would never bring my dog out here. I have a little dog, but he's just a little guy and I don't want to expose him to that stuff. But I think it's pretty safe for us humans. Anyways, so they came out and tested for all that. There are rumors and allegations that there is still an underground base out here. And there are a few people who claim to have found ways, entryways, to get into those underground areas. Okay, we got another path here. So I'm going to stop for a minute and get a drink. Oh, it's another road. There we go. You guys can kind of look around a little bit while I open my drink. So it's pretty hot out today. It's like 94 right now, and it's supposed to get up to triple digits actually in the Willamette Valley. So we'll see how hot it gets. Okay, so got my drink. Now I'm trying to do everything one-handed here. Hold on, guys, I'm gonna jostle you around a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, so, and I had to take the seal off my drink. Pack it in, pack it out. All right, so I'll take that with me. So let's go this way. It's really beautiful out here though. It's funny how, oh, check that out. It's funny how nature just takes over. So this was an actual road. Now it's just all grass and weeds and bushes, and the trees here, as you can see, that leads to the mountain over there. That's off Highway 99 West. So the trees are just huge, as you see in the photos. When the base did actually exist on here, the trees were not that big, and they planted like apple trees, pear trees. I think I even saw a few other fruit trees. Nothing citrusy, anything like that. But I have come out here in the fall and picked some apples for canning and cooking and stuff. And they don't get that big, but they're good. They're really good. So anyways, yeah, see how foresty this is. Whew, I am sweating. I tell you everything. That's a Miss Swang thing off of Mad TV. Okay, or reference I should say. All right. Well, something big moved in there. Probably a squirrel, chipmunk or something. So I'm not really finding a lot of ruins. What I mean by ruins is like oh, my brain just went blank. The foundations of the buildings that were here. I'm not really finding that on this trail, but they're out here. They're out here. I mean, this is a huge place, guys. It takes, I don't know. I guess if you come out here and hiked and did it all in one day, it'd probably take about 12 hours to get in just this area. Now, Camp Adair went much further than what most people believe. I mean, it goes way up into other cities like Rick Rial, Amity, off Highway 99W. Oh, it's another little path. We'll stay on the main one. And look at there, we got a bench. So this looks like a path that's been built by the Park Service here, or E.E. Wilson. So we'll go down this way. Only because I like going over bridges. And this is a really cool bridge. They did good work. And of course, we got the swamp. Now remember, soldiers were crawling through this stuff. Could you imagine? I mean, they put those guys through the ringer. Yeah, they earned. Those guys earned their stars and stripes, let me tell you. Oh. There's another road up here. Let's see where that goes. Oh, check it out. We got some really nice flowers here. We got some of these too. Really pretty. Yeah, here's some of the blocks from the foundations. Oh, check it. That is a very, very, very long road. So let's do it. So this is going to be kind of a little bit of a long video. I'm going to try to stop at about 40 minutes. But the reason being it's going to be a little long is because Camp Adair is a really large place. You can't understand it until you actually come onto the property and experience it for yourself. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys go here. I'm going to get a little bit further deeper into the base on this road, and then I'll get back with you guys, okay? So excuse my sweatiness. Like I said, it's hot out here. But I'm going to let you guys go, and I will get back with you here in a little bit. If anything weird pops off, or I find anything interesting, I'll bring you back on, okay? So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back. So, this is where I just heard somebody say something. Okay, so I think that's an echo. So, that's an echo. That's weird. I was telling a few friends about what I found here, and it's been hard for me to find it again, but I just found it. So, it's like a dock. So as you can see, it's a dock where trucks used to back up into and unload. So the last time I was here, I was able to get all the way down there. Oh, there's a bird. I don't think it likes me being here. Yeah. It's not happy. So, but there's water. I can't get back in there. But there's doors back there. That bird is not happy with me. As you can see, where they put stuff in. And I thought this was like one of the underground ways to get, or the doorways to get into the underground tunnel. But it's not. So I just keep looking. I've been looking for 10 to 12 years. So that's weird how it has an echo. I want to see. Let's listen together. Oh. 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 That's weird. Okay, let's get out of here before that bird attacks me. He's not happy. Alright. Anyways, I just wanted to stop and show you guys that. And those friends of mine who I told you this does exist, I found it. It's so you can get totally lost in this area. So there, right there proves that I did I did see this. So anyways, there it is. It's right there. All right, guys. So I'm gonna let you go again, and I will see you in just a bit. Okay. Bye. Okay, guys. I'm back. So I'm about 3 miles in at this point. I've been kind of keeping track with my pedometer, and I come to the end here. So the road either goes that way or it goes that way, and I'm going that way only because I have been all over the place on that side of the camp. So I'm gonna go this way and see what's down here. Probably some things I've never seen before. But I have to tell you though, so of course today, like I said, today's hot, and so I'm wearing shorts and just a t-shirt. But I went on Amazon to buy some new hiking shoes because on my last episode my shoes kind of gave out because they were in muddy terrain. So I went and bought these hiking shoes. Let me show you. Can you see them? And they were only 40 bucks, so it's not bad. And they're nice. They fit me perfectly. But like with all shoes, it's rubbing a few places on my feet. So by the end of this day, I'm probably gonna have a few blisters, but that's okay. It's just all part of hiking. You gotta toughen your feet up, right? So anyways, we're gonna continue walking down some beautiful field here, and looks like somebody's been driving in there. Interesting. So I'm gonna keep walking for a little bit, and then I'll get back with you guys, okay? See you in a minute. Alright guys, so I've been walking on this road, this one here, for a little ways, and I come across this. It looks like, I don't know, like an old barn or an old building. I don't quite know how to get out there. So I do know, excuse me, let me zoom out. I do know there's a road up here. So I'm gonna go to the connecting road and see if I can get to that old barn and see what that is. Looks like it's out in the middle of nowhere though. So I don't know, kind of curious. So this is kind of what we do, right? We go find these places. I have never seen that out here before, so I'm kind of curious of what that is. So when I get closer to it, I'll bring you guys back on and we'll go check it out if I can get out there. Okay? Alright guys, see you in a little bit. Okay guys, I walked a little bit and I'm hearing this weird sound in these bushes over here. So I'm going to go over there a little bit towards it and see if we can hear it. I don't know if you could hear that, but it was kind of like a heavy breathing and then a small growl. So I think it's time to walk away. And I'm going to keep looking behind me every once in a while. So you guys are going to stay with me for just a little bit. So I know there's coyotes out here, but they don't generally come out during the day. And I don't see anything following me. So I don't know, that was kind of weird. So I'm going to see if I can mimic it for you guys. It was going like, and then I heard a growl. So I don't know what that was. Anyways, and I'm out here all by myself. So I don't know what it could be. Probably an animal. But so I'm still going out towards this barn area. So if I can get to it, I'll bring you guys back on, okay? See you in a bit. Okay guys, so I found the barn house, whatever it is. There it is. So I'm going towards it. Going through some really high grass to get there. Let's see what it is. It's out in the middle of a field. Looks like it's got a cage door on it. Went off its hinge. And it kind of looks like it was for like birds or something. I'm gonna step through. Alright. So it's got old tires in here. And it's just falling apart. What is that? There's something there. Let's check it out. What is that? What the hell is that? It's a cleaning tool. It's a cleaning system. Why would that be out here? And here's something else. Oh, it's a saw. That's old. Looks like it's has some netting up here. Some timber. I think that's an air conditioning unit. And a rope with a block at the end of it. How weird is that? Why would that be here? Out in the middle of nowhere. And there's not any cobwebs around it or anything. Except on the top here. That is weird. Boy, I'm telling you the things you find. And it's got that little trailer hitch there. That is super weird. Okay, let's get out of here. Yeah, it's got netting around it like as if it held chickens or birds or something. There's something here. I don't know what that is. It's like a trash can. Alright. Got stickers all in my shoes. Alright. You guys are gonna stay with me until I get away from here. That was kind of weird. I don't know why they would have all that out in the middle of nowhere. Out in the middle of a field. So, as you can see, the grass is really high. So, yeah, nobody's been back here for a while. So, it's the weirdest things you find in Oregon, let me tell you. I mean, there's probably some kind of good explanation for that, but I can't think of one. You know, if it was like farmer's equipment or a plow or something, I could understand. But a piece of cleaning equipment, I don't know. It's weird. Alright. I'm almost to the road. I got so many stickers in my shoes. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, I'm back on the road. And I'm the only one here. Only one around. All right, guys. Told you if I would find something, I'd bring you guys back. So there's something right there. Well, I got a long ways to go. I probably got about 4 miles back to the car. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and then I'll see you in a little bit, okay? Now I know you can hear that. That's in the woods next to me. And it stopped. I'm gonna keep the camera on just in case. So it looks like we got a body of water here. Now normally, I would think that would have been a toad. That is very loud. I mean, it could be, but yeah, that's kind of creepy. Huh, okay. Well, I'm gonna keep walking. Got about 2 miles left to go. So, talk to you guys in a second, okay? Alright guys, so here is the topography I was talking about, where the reason why they wanted to build this base in this area. So I'll show you. As you can see, it's very hilly, but it's a valley. So they said it reminds them of the landscape of Germany. So that's why they built the base here. And all this area right here is where they did their training. Where they train their soldiers. So we're about a mile away from the base where we were walking. So this is the end of the episode. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and I look forward to spending some more time with you on the next episodes. Remember, stay weird. I want to do a shout out to Jean-Paul. You keep working hard, dude. He started his own business. He's doing really great. Super proud of you. So anyways, I'll see you guys later, and well, I guess I'll see you on the next adventure. All right, thanks guys. Bye.